19th day of January 20. Look on YouTube at Caci television. My name is Selena Ikia Abuajua. Now let's begin with our first story. We are ceding to persistent negligence of their warfare by the government. The Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, and the Federation of Senior Staff Association have jointly announced an indefinite strike across all public universities here in Ghana. The decision comes amidst growing concerns over critical issues related to pensions and conditions of services outlined in the Labour Act of Ghana, which have been consistently overlooked by the government.
Universities of Ghana and the Federation of University Senior Staff Association, FISAG, announced with deep regret the beginning of an industrial strike action by all senior staff across public universities in Ghana. This avoidable decision has been occasioned by government continuing disregard for the welfare of university senior staff concerning critical issues of pensions and conditions of service. At the 17th National Executive Council meeting held on 25th of November 2023, SSA UOG learned with great shock and disappointment that government has failed upon several prompts to release the Tier 2 pension contributions of our members to the Board of Trustees for effective management since February 2023. Despite our immediate plea to the government for the release of these funds, they have refused to comply, leading to this unfortunate situation. Government has failed on several occasions to release our pension contributions on time. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission directed university management to cut off overtime allowance for weekend and holiday work, in which creates hardship for our members. This unilateral alteration of our conditions of service is against the Labour Act and our agreed upon conditions of service. The unions, that is FUSAG and Senior Staff Association, therefore demand the following. 1. Government must, as matter of agency, pay all outstanding contributions together with the appropriate interest from March to December 2023 using 3% penalty rate as stated by the Pensions Act at 766 section 64. 2. Government must, as matter of agency, do the recalculation of our accrued interest on Tier 2 pension from 2010 to 2016 as agreed upon in the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the association and government on July 25th, 2022. Again, we are also demanding that all outstanding arrests should be paid to our retired pensioners. Lastly, we also demand immediate withdrawal of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and GTEC letters dated November 7th and 20th, 2023, respectively, which illegally eliminated overtime allowance for senior staff of public universities. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we hereby officially declare an indefinite strike action across Ghana without any further delay.
And some Ghanaian students who were evacuated from Sudan by the government have petitioned Parliament to support their request for integration into tertiary institutions in the country, while the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration evacuated 82 students from Sudan in May 2023 following a deadly conflict in the country that resulted in casualties.
The Speaker of Parliament, we are here to submit those of the minority leader and then the majority leader.
What does the petition entail?
So it's just appealing for the integration because we've not been able to hear from the government. So that's just it, because the government haven't reached out to us yet. Even though we've had some verbal assurances since we arrived in Ghana here, but then there haven't been any documentation or any meaningful or significant process yet. So that's what we are looking forward to, because school is in session and then we are home without anything.
Have you had an engagement with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Education on this?
Yeah, we've had an engagement with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs upon arrival. They assured us of the integration, and we've met the Director for Tertiary Education in the Ministry of Education, that's Prof. Ira. We've met him on 2 occasions, and he assured us of the integration. So he told us he was going to integrate us into the private universities, and we told him we couldn't afford those ones, because if we had that money, we wouldn't have even gone to Sudan in the first place, since our education there was on fully funded scholarship. So since then we haven't heard from him. We've been to the Ministry of Education on numerous occasions, but we haven't been able to meet him.
And as the 2024 general elections approaches, Osula Owusu Ekufu, the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, is urging the National Communication Authority and the National Media Commission to intensify their supervisory roles in overseeing the media landscape. She underscored the significance of media freedom, but also emphasized the necessity for regulated content to avoid the spread of potentially incendiary material.
To ensure that together they work to sanitize the airwaves, and we don't see an upsurge in fake news media publications, defamatory material, and things that would tend to disturb or threaten the peace and security of our nation. Somebody may think that this is just a loose statement that I'm making, but the impact of it may be far-reaching. So I'm expecting the 2 regulators to work very, very closely together this year to monitor what's put out and work with the industry, the Journalists Association and Independent Broadcasters Association as well, to sanitize this space for our collective good. If we go down, we all go down together. And we should always have the history of Radio Rwanda at the back of our minds, that sitting behind the microphone, what you say can make or break your country. Let's work together to ensure that we energize, campaign effectively, but not put out inflammatory material which can tend to provoke reactions that we may not have anticipated.
And the new Patriotic Party primaries in the Sunyani East constituency has lifted ban on Sunyani East Party to use 2018 album for the election. Well, this comes after a high court in Sunyani has set aside the constituency album following an injunction filed by some aggrieved members of the party in relation to the constituency primaries in May 2022. But the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodria, says the party has resolved the matter.
Talked about matter pending in Sunyani East. As you may recall, the High Court annulled the album of Sunyani East constituency. So today, upon several deliberations by the National Executive Committee, and in our attempt to ensure peace and stability in Sunyani East constituency, the National Executive Committee has directed that the constituency album that existed in 2018, which has the polling station executives, is the album that we are going to use in this current dispensation. And where people have died or people have traveled, the national party, in consultation with the regional party and the committee that has been established, will do elections in those vacant positions. Again, the National Executive Committee shall appoint people to act as acting electoral area coordinators and acting constituency executive to further notice. Finally, I'll go back to the Inshaeso constituency that I made a statement that the party has received a writ of sermon and application for interlocutory injunction with respect to Mr. Kennedy Caci Kankam, and the party legal team will respond accordingly.
The Executive Council of the New Patriotic Party has announced the final aspiring candidate to contest in the party's upcoming parliamentary primaries. What announcement follows a report by the National Parliamentary Appeals Committee and the National Parliamentary Vetting Committee regarding the eligibility of aspirants to contest in the parliamentary elections.
About Martha pending in Sunyani East. As you may recall, the High Court annulled the album of Sunyani East constituency. So today, upon several deliberations by the National Executive Committee and in our attempt to ensure peace and stability in Sunyani East constituency, the National Executive Committee has directed that the constituency album that existed in 2018, which has the polling station executives, is the album that we are going to use in this current dispensation. And where people have died or people have traveled, the national party, in consultation with the regional party and the committee that has been established, will do elections in those vacant positions. Again, the National Executive Committee shall appoint people to act as acting electoral area coordinators and acting constituency executive to further notice. Finally, I'll go back to the Inshaeso constituency that I made a statement that the party has received a writ of sermon and application for interlocutory injunction with respect to Mr. Kennedy Caci Kankam, and the party legal team will respond accordingly.
President John Dramani Mahama has given hopes to persons with disability by promising them to increase their share in the districts.
The Disability Act. It was passed in 2006, and so we need to look at the Disability Act, look at the gaps in implementation. For instance, we presented this electronic wheelchair to our brother here. I can't see a ramp. Is it stairs over there? Stairs. What of there? Stairs or ramp? Steps. And so we gave him the new electronic wheelchair. But there's no way he could have come up here to even come and shake my hand. And that's why I had to get up and go and shake his hand down there. And yet the Disability Act says that all public facilities must be made disability friendly and must be accessible to persons with disability. And so we need to review that act and make sure that we enforce the provisions of the act so that they also can live a comfortable.
Finance Ministry urges communities to oppose activities of illegal mining in the fight against galamsey. Well, the ministry sees the public as having a critical role in the fight and has therefore urged communities where illegal mining is taking place to oppose these activities.
The Disability Act, it was passed in 2006, and so we need
all of us have to get involved to address the issue of galamsey, because as we are here now, there's somebody somewhere in Wasa digging. We are here, so if we leave it alone for only government to fight it, then it will be difficult for us to be able to ensure that we are fighting it to the fullest maximum potential. We need the citizenry, our chiefs, government officials, security officials, everybody, including citizens, the local people. Well, if the local people say they will not let you mine illegally in their area, there's no way you can do it.
Let's move to the central region, where some residents of Dominasi in the Gumwa East District of the central region took to the street to demonstrate over what they say is medical negligence on the part of staff at the Potting Polyclinic, leading to the death of a resident. Well, on January 4 this year, some angry residents of the Gumwa Dominasi besieged the Gumwa Potting Polyclinic and destroyed some properties of the facility after accusing the staff of medical negligence, resulting in the deaths of their residents.
Transfer staffs now. So one transfer that young Kohobu on clinic or can be a number of Buguni because you and Fadrin Papa and Techi. Insist a one Gunida, no one says staff from that, or quite money be a number in this one, obviously, because Yampede will be able to abortion. What will be by 5 o'clock? Namutan about an agree 2 o'clock no in Pane, Wobla, Doctor Biamba in check. Edman Sumo Yamajiska, and see a petition there. What best and staffs. On to the man, 1 fire center and Kubata, them what's that done?
Mrs. Takwayale da Potting Polyclinic. Makoha, Mammy Daho, she insinuates. Some are in a condition here collect. And the moon transfer name. Also, chairs and a doctor Mike. Mammy Daho, 50 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No way, you, mammy. Where you, mammy, you do Korean, mammy.
First, in Ubudata, Naya Clinic. Ekona no yedimpe yesuko winiba ana akwa Cape Coast be sister no du betepe na yesuko pati ahwe ni penko ye nhwe no yesuko pati ekopoti so ye nhwe.
Let's do some business news, where Ghana has won a moratorium with official creditors on debt payment through May 2026 and expect to reach a deal with Eurobond investors to revamp $13 billion US debt by the end of March this year. Well, the finance minister